各位同学，大家好，欢迎收看 Discovering Chinese 第9课教室里有什么 Day 2 video. Welcome everyone. Thank you for turning into Day 2 video of Lesson 9. What's in the classroom? So before we start, if you didn't get to see the Day 1 video, it's a good idea to go back to see the Day 1 video. And from this video on, you will see that one side of the presentation is in traditional, and on the right side of the presentation will be in simplify. So here we go. And let's start by reviewing some vocabulary. 我们要复习一些单字。那这些单字都是我们之前学过的。We've learned some of these before. So just really quickly, 这 it's about time for you to take out your notebook if you haven't, and start writing down the notes. 这是什么意思呢？ This, 对 this. 下一个，那，什么是那？什么是那？对 ，as opposed to 这，那是 that 的意思。that。下一个是 ，you should know this one by now. And Miss R was were. Okay, it could mean all the be verbs in English. 再来，下一个是谁？ There are two different way to spell it. It depends on which keyboard you're on. If you're doing traditional, it's easier for you to find a character if you type SHEI, Shay, second tone. And if you're using the simplified character, it's easier to find a character by typing shui, SHUI, shui. Second tone. 谁是 who 的意思 ，who 的意思。好，下一个的，什么是的呢？对 ，it's the word that indicates the possession. Okay, indicates possession. And sometimes, if you want to translate, it's like apostrophe s in in English. And in this lesson, we are going to learn 谁的 whose. Okay, whose 谁的。And because the is used to indicate possession, so when you have 谁的 whose, but in English we use this spelling instead of apostrophe s to indicate possession of who. Okay, 谁的。All right, so let's go back. 谁的 Oops. Okay. Oops. And then you also need to know the items that we learned in the day 1 video. So if you still don't know how to say 笔 pen, 铅笔 pencil, and 电脑 computer, you might want to check out video day 1. Okay, let's go ahead and next slide. So in this slide, we're going to learn how to say whose da is this. So if you look at the character 这是 means this is 谁的 whose谁的这是谁的 this is whose, and it's a question. it means whose da 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 is this? Whose da 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 is this? Right? Okay. 这是谁的？这是谁的？ For example, how do I say whose iPhone is this? Whose iPhone is this? I will want to say 这是谁的 and in the da 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 you want to say iPhone. So how do you say whose iPhone is this again? 这是谁的 iPhone? How do you say whose backpack is this? 这是谁的 How do you say backpack again? Backpack 是书包 So how do you ask that again? 这是谁的书包 Now, if you want to say, hey, 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 我的 how do you say that? Okay, so how do you say cell phone? Yeah, cell phone is 手机 right? 手机 So, 这是谁的手机 and you want to say, oh, that's mine. So how would you say that? You want to say, 这是我的手机 Right? This is my cell phone. 这是我的手机 So how do you come up with that response? It's really easy. All you need to do is to say 这是 this 我的 Now 我 stands for I, right? And the is the possession word, the indicator for possession. So when you have two together, it becomes my. And 手机是什么？对，手机就是 right here. 这就是手机。好。And now I'm going to use the items, the 3 items below, and we're going to exercise, right? So I'm going to ask, 这是谁的橡皮 In the previous slide, we learned how to say whose da 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 is this. Now we are going to say whose da 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 is that instead. Okay, and that's really easy. All you need to do is to change 这 is the word for this. Right? This is in simplify. In traditional, it would be like this. Okay? So instead of saying 这, you want to say 那 right here in green character. Okay, so my question again would be whose cell phone is this? Cell phone, how do you say it? 手机, yeah. So how do you say ask that question? I want to say 那是谁的手机？那是 that is 谁的 whose 手机 cell phone. And you want to say, oh, that's Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs 手机. And how do you say that? Easy. All you need is to replace 谁的 with Steve Jobs' name by saying 那是. So instead of saying whose, you want to say Steve Jobs, right? 那是 Steve Jobs 的手机。那是 Steve Jobs 的手机。Okay, let's practice another one with 书包 backpack 书包。那是谁的 whose 书包？那是谁的书包？ And that's 肖老师的书包。So you want to say 那是肖老师 instead of saying whose 谁的 you substitute it with 肖老师。那是肖老师的书包。肖老师书包。Got it? Okay, let's practice with one more thing on the slide. 教室 classroom. You should know it by now. 教室. So I'm going to ask you whose classroom is this? Whose 教室 is this? And is that? And you're going to tell me that's my 教室. All right? 那是谁的教室？那是谁的教室？肖老师。So how would you say that? 那是肖老师的教室。很好，W O。